Hello you dirty dogs and welcome back to a travel-sized Continental Club. Truncating it this week because we've got a lot of stuff to do, haven't we lads? But we start with David De Gea. Now apparently according to Spanish press, Diario Gol in particular, he's asked Sergio Ramos to sort him a move out to Real Madrid. Now we've heard this all before, haven't we? A potential move fell through in 2015 because the paperwork didn't go through on time. Or was that sabotaged by Manchester United? Who knows? Now he's made over 200 appearances for the Red Devils. He's won an awful lot. Voted United's Player of the Season 3 times. So it goes without saying they'd miss him big time. Do you know who he's missing, Pato? His girlfriend, his family. They all still live in Madrid.
Right.
But more pertinently, is he any better than Keylor Navas? Both rated 85 on FIFA. And that's how we analyse everything on this channel, right?
Well, while Zach's here, that's how we're going to analyse things, just to make life easier for him. He is better than Keylor Navas, though Keylor Navas is very good. I don't think he's sufficiently better to warrant spending 100 mil or whatever Man United are going to ask for him. I think if you're going to get another keeper and you're Real Madrid, then you want to get someone who's that much younger than Navas, that by the time Navas is starting to drop off because of age, they're ready to take over. So a Donnarumma or even an Oblak would make more sense for me than a De Gea. Oblak's 24, Donnarumma's 18. De Gea, I think, is now 26. And so you kind of think, I don't know, he doesn't offer enough in terms of kind of future value or in terms of added value to make it really worth the output. If I were Real Madrid, what I'd be thinking about is how I'm going to replace Cristiano Ronaldo once he starts to drop off. And that's what I'd be saving my pennies for.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the emphasis of Zidane's team is actually to be watertight at the back, is it? They almost outscore their opponents on a regular basis. I think Navas only kept 5 clean sheets last season, but by and large, obviously because of their playing ethos, not his ability as a goalkeeper. By comparison, De Gea kept 14, but I believe that was a league high. I think they had the second best defence in the league, didn't they, Manchester United, last season. Zach, if you're Florentino Perez, I can see you as the owner of Real Madrid. You've got all the business acumen, you've got all the intelligence, the smarts, the look,
I've got to be
the works.
GCSE in business. So.
Who do you replace Keylor Navas with?
I think what Pat said, Donnarumma, the 18-year-old. He has just signed a new contract with an initial €70 million release clause. And we saw all during the summer and January how he wanted to leave Milan. The fans hated his disrespect to the club. They chucked money at him during the Italian game as well, with fake notes and things like that.
Donnarumma, wasn't it? Like that.
Yeah, but statistically, it wouldn't be a bad replacement.
Yeah.
He kept 0.3 clean sheets per game versus De Gea's 0.4. He also made an average of 3.1 saves per goal, and De Gea had 2.1. But Donnarumma is the busier keeper. He makes 3.6 saves per 90 compared to De Gea with 1.7. He also is better with distribution with 78%, and De Gea has 64. And we all know Mourinho likes to keep the ball and play a bit more defensively and not have to just whack it up there if need be. But yeah, I'd say Donnarumma. As you said, you said Oblak as well. He is 24 and he cost Atletico 16 million euros back in 2014. It costs him a lot more now, Real Madrid. Yeah. But he's still a very young keeper that can take them further.
There'd be riots if they sold Oblak to Real Madrid in Madrid. I don't think until this season, when who was the young lad, Teo Hernandez, until that Teo Hernandez transfer, I don't think they'd bought anyone from Atletico or Atletico sold anyone to Real Madrid. There's a bit of a standoff, wasn't there?
Well, he told a paper that apparently in football you never know, even one day before the market closes, news can come out.
Ooh, dangling the carrot. But who would you go for? Would you go for Donnarumma? Would you go for Jan Oblak? Or would you go for Craig Gordon? Let us know in the poll up there. Next on the agenda is Spanish La Liga president causes stir. Ooh. But we planned to all do that.
Under no circumstances.
Anyway, to elaborate, this is La Liga president Javier Tebas, and he's accused PSG and Manchester City of financial doping, saying they've spent money from outside of the footballing world. Is there a world outside of football? That'd be nice.
Not when you work here. No.
Jesus. But yeah, basically he's taken particular issue with Manchester City's purchase of newly promoted side Girona. The Citizens obviously buying a 44.3% stake in that club. And he reckons by Manchester City sending out scores of loanees there. They're effectively cooking the books. But does he have a leg to stand on, Pato, in terms of accusing Manchester City of such acts when PSG are spending as much on one player as City did in the whole summer recruitment process?
This just smacks to me of, like, I don't know, of just bitching and whining because he hasn't got his own way. I think La Liga commercially is way behind the Premier League, and now that Neymar's gone, suddenly they're worried that they're going to lose their cachet within the football world. The fact is that the Premier League clubs don't have B teams, and so they are going to find ways to get around that. Chelsea get around it by having their kind of loan army. Man City get around it by buying every club in the world and then having them kind of push their talent towards Manchester.
Which a lot of clubs do. Monaco have just bought Cercle Bruges.
Well, yeah, it's an acknowledged fact that this is the sort of thing that goes on. City are just doing it in a way that we haven't really seen before. But I think I don't really understand what his beef is. I think that Barcelona had a buyout clause on Mbappe. PSG went and paid it. The fact that they get their money from the UAE or Qatar or whoever it is an issue for FIFA. If their regulations aren't stringent enough, that's their fault. Like, Man City and PSG are not going to say, well, okay, we can technically do this under the law, but it's not really in the spirit of the law. They're going to do everything they can to ensure they win. So if Man City need 50 million more to go and buy a player, then one of the satellite companies of the, you know, whatever it is, there's the, I don't know, Abu Dhabi investment group or whatever. One of those little satellite companies will say, well, I'll tell you what, why don't we sponsor you and we'll give you 50 million quid a year. And then you're like, oh, brilliant, because that's just enough to afford this player.
They're all big businesses, aren't they? They're just finding a way to give themselves that edge. It's similar to when Manchester City renamed their stadium the Etihad. That was a huge deal that was not representative of the actual market at that point, wasn't it? I don't know if Arsenal's is similar with the Emirates, but as you say, various clubs do this in various different forms. Zacharias, what has Manchester City's response been to this?
Well, the City Football Group responded saying, Mr. Tabas, statements are all ill-informed and in parts pure fiction. We are now threatening legal action, and UEFA have said that there will be no more investigations into City, but they will carry on with their ones with PSG. But in my opinion as well, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. If the money isn't harming anyone, Qatar is a whole other barrel of fish. Let's not go into that. We've done a whole another video on them before. But if it's not harming anyone, there's no problem in spending the legal money of 220 million to buy Neymar, in my opinion, at all.
But when you say it's not harming anyone, is this not a case of the rich just getting, just finding new ways to get richer and pull away from the rest? Is sporting integrity being affected beyond repair at this point? Question to you both.
The thing is, FFP was a way for the rich to carry on getting richer. Like, FFP came in and it basically said you have to spend within your means, and what that prevented somebody doing was buying a club and just pumping money into it artificially, right? Because then they might eventually decide to take away their money and the club collapses. We saw that happen with a club like Leeds.
And it could happen with Chelsea, theoretically.
Yeah, sure. So the idea was that it would prevent instability, but obviously what it actually did as well was make sure that the rich clubs stay the rich and the middle class stay the middle class. But now people are using FFP as a weapon. So Barcelona are disappointed that they've lost this player to PSG through their own mistake, because they had I wouldn't say a reasonable buyout clause, but a payable buyout clause. And PSG were able to go and pay it. So now they're going to bitch and moan and whine about it, just because it makes them a bit weaker. That's the thing. In the same way, Barca can complain all they want about Qatari money going to PSG, but they didn't complain when they took Qatari money to sponsor their shirts.
Took the words out of my mouth.
Ridiculous.
And, I'm guessing Tebas had no problem with Barcelona rinsing clubs of their best stars using, I won't say ill-gotten gains because it's perfectly legitimate. But what do you guys think? Is the world of football being affected by all of this Monet, effectively state-owned clubs? Let us know in the comments below. Last but not least, we end the show on Diego Costa. The Brazilian-cum-Spaniard is back in London, looking to resolve his future following that exile to northern Brazil, self-imposed exile, and subsequent fine of 480,000 spondula. Zachary, being a Chelsea fan, do you see him, at least for the next 6 months, maybe being reintegrated into the squad, a la Carlos Tevez under Roberto Mancini, or is he going to do a Winston Bogarde and sit on his arse, picking up a little bit of a paycheck, training in rudimentary training, and then leaving?
I think he will be gone and won't play another game for Chelsea. I'll say that right here, right now. We have Morata now. He is the main man. He's the man Chelsea need to focus on for the next couple of years, at least 5, I'm saying. And I think Costa, as we said, he'll train with Chelsea, he'll train every day, blah, blah, blah. It'll get to January, we'll sell him, and then we'll sell him for £50 million. That is what I think.
You think you'll get 50?
I think we'll get 50 million in January.
I mean,
yes.
I don't think Atletico are willing to pay 50 in this transfer window.
I heard reports of 49 were offered.
But I think you're right. I think now Alvaro Morata's proved he can be that point man.
I also,
go on.
but I also feel if you're Morata as well, and Chelsea haven't played with 2 up front. I don't think we've ever played with 2 up front. So that's our formation is 1 up front. And if you're Morata, having Diego Costa come back, 1 should hopefully spur you to do better, but 2, you were probably promised to come to Chelsea to be the main man, to be that man. With Diego Costa back and people going, oh, is it Costa?
Yeah.
Is he going to play in front of Morata? You wouldn't be happy with that, I wouldn't say. I would not if I was Morata, that is.
What do you make of all this, Pato? What do you make of Zach's ramblings? What do you make of my questions?
I think the fact that Chelsea have never played with more than 1 up front doesn't really matter here. Managers do what they do. They basically go from place to place and they pretty much reproduce the same
He's
stuff.
a pragmatist, isn't he?
And he's played 2 up front before. He's gone 3-5-2, 3-4-1-2. He's quite happy to do that sort of thing. On the other hand, I don't think that Morata and Costa are necessarily compatible as strikers up front. They're too similar in the things they want to do. I don't think he's going to play for Chelsea again. We can cite the example of Tevez with Mancini, but if I wanted to get back into somebody's good books, Mancini be a lot easier than Conte, I think. Conte, when he's decided, it's going to be hard to change his mind. He walked out of Juventus because he wasn't happy. I think he was on the verge of walking this summer, to be honest with you. I don't know. I think that the deal's probably done to let Costa go, and Chelsea are perfectly happy to let him sit there. Who knows? Maybe if you got an injury to Morata or Batshuayi, then maybe you'd see him. But I think
spoke about Batshuayi.
Yeah, imagine being Batshuayi.
Why didn't he go this summer?
Because Atleti can't buy him this summer.
Ridiculous, though.
We
How
could have
has
gone
a
on
move not been sorted? Yeah, a 6-month loan to Porto. A 6-month
He
loan to Milan.
he said before, he said in an interview with the Daily Mail, I think, I only want to go to Atletico Madrid.
I think
that's the only place I want
that's
to go
just childish.
to.
Yeah.
But that's Diego Costa.
And unprofessional.
That's Diego Costa.
And also, I think we're getting to this point. An interesting thing's happening in the Premier League at the moment, where for the last few years, right, the big teams haven't sold to each other, really. Not really, with a couple of exceptions, like Juan Mata, for instance. Now, you are seeing it. So Nemanja Matic has gone, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's gone. Those moves are going to start happening again. So I think that actually it would have been quite interesting if an Arsenal or a Spurs had had a pop.
You think we would have sold it to you guys?
He'd have been so interesting at Arsenal.
Depends how much you want to get rid of him. I think Conte will do what he wants. I really do.
See, but I think it's players that aren't necessarily that top level. So Matic, we'd already bought Bakayoko. He wasn't going to be playing as much. We were happy to let him go to United. Oxlade-Chamberlain had already said he wanted to leave Arsenal. That's why you're happy to send him to Liverpool. I don't think Diego Costa, we know he'll improve your squad by so much more if he's in that Arsenal squad. We wouldn't let him go.
I think they'd have been, they'd been silly to not have had thought those same sentiments about Matic going to Manchester United. I think financially, if it made sense, and if it meant one less headache for Conte at the club, as I say, the guy's a pragmatist. He's logical. He might be emotional, but he can also, he's got that cold business acumen. I think he would have let him go. Oh, he's in class at Arsenal. Where do you think Diego Costa should have gone before we descend into more ramblings? Let us know in the comments. So that was this week's Continental Club, guys. We hope you enjoyed, and as per usual, if you have questions for us, get them to us on Twitter and Instagram. Pato, what should the lovely people do here on EFB?
Well, they should check out some Continental clubs from the past, some Football Mundial, some great top 10s, and of course stick around because tomorrow Stat Wars is back. Top quality stuff. What's over on FB?
Yes, well, an hour ago, BFN has just gone live. Go check that out. Give it a like, give it a comment, say Zach sent you. And don't forget,
like and subscribe.
Seamless.
Not rehearsed.
Bye.
I'd love it if I died in the middle of this. I mean, it wouldn't be how I choose to go, but at least I'd be dead.
Views. Pato dies.
Pato
All right,
dies.
No, Joe would be like, oh, we still need a title.